we had lowish body corporate fees, but we still had to pay for our mower to come out and mow the area once every 2 weeks through that warmer period and once a month in the cooler period, which was costing money. We didn't have any gates. We didn't have any on-site managers. We didn't have any pools. All we had was the insurance and the body corporate management company to make sure the paperwork was right, and then the mower man coming around once every now and again to mow the complex to keep it nice and looking tidy. Those costs were nice and low, but I didn't see huge or any capital appreciation out of that property. Back in August 2003, I signed a contract for $145,000, and I sold that property back in June, or signed the contract back in June 2021, and sold it for $305,000. Now, over that 18-year period, that wasn't a great return. I could have come out to the likes of out to Moreton Bay Regional Council, which is where I sort of live now, from the Redlands where my townhouse was, which was on that sort of southeast side of town. So it was out in a suburb called Alexandra Hills, which is out near Stradbroke Island out there. I could have come out to Strathpine, Raid Park, Petrie, Lawton, in and around that little pocket out there, and potentially bought a house for around about $145,000 back then. I could have gone out to Browns Plains down to the south side in Logan, Regent's Park out in that end of the world, and I could have bought a house for around about $145,000 as well in that sort of pocket. I could have potentially gone further out yet again, and I could have bought a house in Ipswich, or I could have gone out to Caboolture and bought a house. And because the price points were so low at that point in time, I could have potentially bought 2 or 3 houses in the likes of Caboolture or Ipswich, okay? And if we say that I bought, let's just say I bought 2 houses in Caboolture, or I bought 2 houses in Ipswich for $75,000 a piece back in 2003, on today's money, those properties would be worth somewhere in the vicinity of between that sort of 400 on the cheaper end of town to around about that 550, 600 on the higher end of town, depending on the quality of the asset. If I went and bought a property in that sort of Strathpine through to Petrie, or I bought a property in Browns Plains, I would have been buying something for around about that sort of $145,000, give or take a little bit, in that area, in those 2 areas. And those 2 areas today, I'd be looking at selling those properties for around about that sort of 550 to 650, maybe 700 a squeeze, depending on the quality of the asset. So my capital appreciation, because I would have been able to control a larger portion of land, would have been a lot greater over that 18 years of ownership than the $305,000 I made out of it. I didn't have somebody that was sitting there in the corner that was sort of sitting there going, rightio, what we're going to do is we're going to review your plan, we're going to review your assets, and we're going to have a bit of a conversation on whether it's a better idea or a strategy to sell that property because you've seen a bit of uplift in it, look at moving and recycling, paying the taxes on it and moving it to another asset, and then watching the capital appreciation happen from there. If I had my time over and I knew what I knew today, I would have probably sold that property back in 2007 or 2006, and I would have looked at buying a house in a different location, and I would have seen a much better uplift than what I saw. But I didn't have that information, which sent me down that journey of learning, which is the reason why I'm here talking to you guys today. So there is a strategy for units and townhouses within there. My wife bought a unit in a 3-story walk-up, 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 car carport, which was all locked up and secured, fully secured garage. Really, all those were on sort of title or on strata. That was hers. She bought that back in 2010, around about October 2010, and she sold that around about sort of that September mark in 2021 when we decided to change and flip everything. She paid $332,000 for her property back then, and she sold it for $360,000. So she didn't see any great capital appreciation or anything like that. She basically broke even when you factor in agent selling costs, the marketing fees that they charged, the legals when she bought it, the stamp duty when she bought it, the legals when she sold it, and that sort of thing. She basically broke even, not including the principal and interest that she paid over that period of time. So basically, why I'm sort of explaining all these bits and pieces is it's sometimes better to go a little bit further out in a major capital city, buy the biggest possible block of land rather than buy that townhouse or a unit. If you do buy that townhouse or a unit, you want to review what your strategy is in relation to that to make sure you're not missing out on any opportunities that are going to set you back years and decades. Okay? By doing these things, getting this understanding, getting this knowledge, you're going to be able to grow quicker on your property journey and your property strategy and be able to get the right finance in place. The other thing that we did wrong was we had poor finance advice. I had it from a bank. My wife had it from a non-savvy mortgage broker in the property investing space. And basically the strategy was you want to pay off all your debt. Well, in reality, if it's going to be an investment property down the track and you're potentially going to buy a house, what you want to do is you want to make that principal and interest, but you want to make bare minimum monthly repayments of that principal and interest, and you want to stick all your money into an offset account. That offset account can then save up, help offset your interest and make those savings over that period of time so you can sort of get ahead. But when you do get to that point in your life where you want to buy that house and you want to upgrade to that house, it allows you to have a nice big deposit to buy that house, which means that your investment debt is as high as it could possibly be in your strategy at that point in time, while your principal place of residence debt is as low as possible at that point in time. So you're not missing out on that taxable sort of offset that you get from your interest deductions, okay? Not tax advice. You need to speak to your accountant. Everybody's situation is different, but there is the opportunity that if you have investment debt tied against a property and the purpose of that loan was to secure that asset which is now being rented out, you can deduct that interest that you're being charged by the bank to offset your tax. So understanding your finance and getting that structure in the right way means that that property that you buy, you're not having to have all your debt against that asset where your two investment properties potentially have got no debt tied against it. So it's a little bit along those lines that you want to have that conversation, okay? I hope from these two videos that you've just watched, I know it's been a bit long and everything like that, that you've been able to unpack a lot of great knowledge and understandings. You've got an understanding of those three main different asset classes and then the subclasses within each one. If you want me to talk more about the commercial space and the industrial space, I can. Chuck us a comment down in the section below, and down the track I'll look at doing some videos explaining those two spaces. If you need help from a fully licensed buyer's agent or mortgage broker, please reach out to me. I am Tim, and you've been watching Invest with Tim Allen. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.